Hello and hola! Welcome to Yoga with Criss. Today we are showing the modifications for the yogi push-ups because for some of us it's still a little too tough even having the knees on the ground. The gravity force that we have to fight to, it's tough. So we're using modifications today to achieve it. And what we're gonna need: yoga blocks. It doesn't matter if they are cork or foam. And if we don't have yoga blocks, what we could use is just a little step, those kind of steps we use for the kitchen, or even a storage ottoman like this. Well, as I mentioned, it doesn't matter if our blocks are foam or cork, and if they are yoga X or oval shape or the square shape. So the idea is bringing the floor closer to us, but also getting a better leverage against the gravity force when we are pushing up. As in the original video that you can see right here, we start from a modified plank pose. We set our hands, starfish hands. It's important that we spread our fingers wide because that way we are distributing our weight in all that area and not in just area. We take off a lot of pressure from our wrists. But if for any reason we find it too hard on us doing it like this, we can always switch fists for wrists. So we could do it right here. Just remember, not wrapping the fingers. We're not wrapping the fingers here because we're putting weight there. We're smashing them. So we just keep them right there. This is the way we're using our fists. So yeah, if we cannot do it on our wrists, we can do it on our fists. And setting our wrists right underneath our shoulders and making sure that our elbows are pointing to the back. So if we're doing it on our wrist, we start here, inhaling, and then setting our hips back and pointing tailbone up or puppy pose. We're not sitting here, we're actually lifting our tailbone. Inhaling again, leaning forward, exhaling down, elbows pointing back and always by our ribs, and then inhaling, pushing up, exhaling, puppy pose, inhaling, leaning forward. This is our modified plank, contracting our abdominal muscles. Exhaling, chaturanga or crocodile, elbows by your ribs. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling, puppy pose. Now we're gonna do it with our blocks. If we can actually lean on our wrist, but our problem is that it's too tough because of gravity, because we feel too weak in our shoulders and our arms still. So we can do it here with our blocks. And before we get to it, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done it yet, this is the perfect moment to do it. There's a subscribe button below the screen, and there's also a bell. Just touch it to get all the notifications so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. We set our blocks in a way that is better for us. Some of us may need them right here. And again, we do the same. We're not spreading completely our hands because of course we have the blocks here, but we're still trying to get our pinky pointing to the side of the mat, even if we are holding the block with our fingers, but the pinky pointing to the side, so our elbows are pointing to the back of the mat. And then we proceed to start with our yogi push-ups, inhaling, exhaling, sending our hips back and pointing that tailbone up. It's a modified puppy, but we're still trying to point the tailbone up. And then inhaling again, leaning forward. Exhaling, chaturanga or crocodile, elbows pointing to the back and always by our ribs. Inhaling, pushing up. And exhaling again, that modified puppy. Inhaling, leaning forward. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling, puppy pose. Good. But for some of us, this is still not enough. So we can do it in this position. And it's the same. We align our wrists right underneath our shoulders, making sure that our elbows are pointing to the back of the mat. And before anything else, please like this video. And if you like it, share it with your friends. If you have a friend who said like, oh, I don't pass the shaker test. What's the shaker test? It's when we grab the salt or the pepper and we sprinkle in our food and our arms are just moving like jello. That's a shaker test. So yeah, send it to a friend that's been complaining about having weak arms or not passing the shaker test. This would be useful. And then we do the same, inhaling, exhaling, modified puppy. This is a very modified puppy. We're still trying to point that tailbone up, inhaling, leaning forward, exhaling, chaturanga or crocodile, elbows by your ribs and the elbows are pointing to the back, inhaling, pushing up, exhaling, puppy pose, inhaling, leaning forward. We're not collapsing in our shoulders, we're pushing the blocks away. Exhaling, chaturanga, elbows by our ribs, inhaling, pushing up, exhaling, puppy pose. Good. If we still feel like too much, we can do it this way. Just let's make sure that the surface we are working on is stable. Because if it's an uneven ground, our blocks could be moving around too much and we would collapse or fall and we could hurt a wrist, an elbow or a shoulder, and we don't want that. So let's just make sure that we are in an even surface. In this position, it's really not exactly we are completely above our wrists because the elevation we have. So let's inhale, but let's make sure that we're always pushing the blocks away so we don't collapse in our shoulders. Inhaling, exhaling, sending our hips back, trying to point that tailbone up. I understand because of the height of the block, we don't look like in the original puppy, but let's try to keep pointing the tailbone up. Inhaling, leaning forward, elbows pointing back. Exhaling, chaturanga, elbows by our ribs. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling, puppy. Inhaling. Exhaling. Elbows by our ribs. Our elbows are not to the sides, are all the time by our ribs. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. If you're wondering how far should I go down on the chaturanga, it's usually having the upper arm aligned to our spine. So if we are completely on the mat, either way on our wrists or our fists, when we get down, elbows by our ribs and pointing to the back, we get down and our elbows are aligned to our spine, and then pushing up. If we have the blocks here, it's the same. Going down, parallel to the ribs, to the spine. They're parallel to the spine. And if we have them here, same, parallel to the spine. If we are here, it's the same, parallel to the spine. Some of us haven't done a workout in a long time, or maybe it's the first time in our life that we are getting into any kind of workout for our arms and shoulders or even our core. We have never done a push-up before, so this could be still too much. Let's just look for something like this. We have this here in our bedroom. This is an ottoman. We get to a distance, good distance, that our shoulders are not, it's hard to have them right above our wrist because of the height of this. So we're just a little behind our wrist, but our elbows are still pointing to the back. The pinkies are right on the side. Starfish hands. And inhaling, exhaling, sending our hips back, keeping that spine well lengthened. Inhaling, leaning forward. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling, pointing that tailbone high. Inhaling, leaning forward, contracting our abdominal muscles. Exhaling, chaturanga. Our arms are parallel to the spine. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling. I'm doing one more round. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. If the issue we're getting into is because we are nursing our knees and that would be too much leaning on them, this still could be as tough as doing it the original version, like right here, but we're not leaning our knees on the mat. Again, aligning our shoulders to our wrists, pinkies to the sides, elbows pointing to the back, toes on the mat or the floor. Inhaling, exhaling, lifting our tailbone. This is like a modified downward facing dog. Inhaling, leaning forward for a full plank, contracting our abdominal muscles. Exhaling, chaturanga, elbows pointing back and by our ribs. Inhaling, pushing up. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. If we don't have an ottoman, we can always use a chair. So let's make sure that that chair is not gonna slide. And again, shoulders above the wrists, pinkies to the side, elbows pointing to the back. Aligning our legs to our spine, contracting our abdominal muscles. Inhaling. Exhaling, lifting our tailbone for our modified down dog. Inhaling. Again, contracting our abdominal muscles. Exhaling, chaturanga. Elbows by your ribs. Inhaling, pushing up, elbows by your ribs. Exhaling, pointing that tailbone up. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. If you feel like you're learning something new about your body or how to do something for yourself, I invite you to follow me on Patreon. All year long, I'm uploading content for free. For some of us, even these versions would be still tough. I'm gonna move to that dresser, and let's imagine it's a counter in your kitchen, and we can do it there. The same principle. We set our wrist shoulder width apart, and again, because of the elevation we have here, we cannot align our shoulders right above our wrists. We are doing kind of a, for this height, it's kind of a 45-degree angle. Let's push the counter away, pinkies to the side, elbows pointing to the back, or in this case, basically pointing to the floor, and lengthening our spine, contracting our abdominal muscles, inhaling, exhaling, pointing that tailbone up, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, elbows by the ribs, and the arms, the upper arms are parallel to the spine. Inhaling, exhaling. Thank you for watching this video till the end. I hope you can find one of these versions helpful for you, and you can join us in the challenge of this month of yogi push-ups. Namaste, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.